Welcome to Game of the Day, where I randomize a date and play a game that came out on that same day. First, I'd like to shout out Kinda Working for reaching out to me on Twitch and making the randomizers we'll be using today. So first, we'll start with the 26th of May in 2011 for today's date. And the first game we got was something I can't show or even say the name of on this site, so unfortunately I had to spin again. But the game we ended up getting afterwards was Chuno Doku Hana no Kusari, or Butterflies, Poison, Blood Chains. The game is a romance visual novel that originally was completely in Japanese, but in 2023 it seemed to get a release that included English subtitles, so that's the version I'll be playing. There's also an 18 plus version of the game, but for obvious reasons this video isn't going to cover that content. When I first booted up the game, the first thing I did was going to the settings that let you change the font, text speed, bubble colors, and more, which for a visual novel having all these options was optimal, so things were off to a great start. But the story follows Yuriko Nomiya, or whatever you want to name her as the name was changeable, in 1918 Tokyo and her debt-riddled noble family who happened to be throwing her an extravagant birthday party she wasn't all too fond of due to their financial issues, so she gets the bright idea to escape out her window, which brings us to the first possible love interest we're introduced to in her gardener, Majima. Majima tells her not to jump, so she doesn't, in which she's met by her loving father, heavy spending mother, and questionable second love interest in her artistic brother, Mizuhito. They encourage her to come out of her room and greet the party downstairs, which she does before running into her third love interest of Fujita, the family's butler. She speaks with him for a while before he has to leave, then her next love interest of a childhood friend, Hideo, comes into the picture and explains to her that this birthday party was really a setup to find her a husband, as her dad thinks she'd be happier if she married into a wealthier family. She becomes rattled, which only gets worse as her creepy servant comes near her before being told off by a woman love interest this time in Kyoko, who gets close, tell her the rumors are true that she smells like a lily at a certain time of the month, which leads to our main character running outside to get some air. But the trip outside was short-lived as commotion in the house leads her back inside, where she sees it's being ransacked by thugs with swords and almost gets her life taken from her before she's saved by a final love interest in a mysterious man. Unfortunately, in all the commotion though, her father's life was taken, and that's where it all starts to change for her. Keep in mind, all the plot I just covered comes from a portion of the prologue, so there's a lot more that goes on from there. All in all though, the visual novel was a lot, but in a good way. Once in a while you did get to pick dialogue options that had impact on the story, important characters did have voice actors, and the game had a ton of quality of life features and a lot more. The art was also great, but I do feel like characters could have shown a bit more emotion if they were given a couple more poses to choose from. With everything taken into account though, I think I'd give this game a noble romance out of 10. Make sure to follow and leave a comment what you would rate this game alongside games you hope to see in the future on this series, and I'll see you guys in the next one.